Hello. Today I will be giving a non-traditional reviewing of It Was the Best of Sentences, It Was the Worst of Sentences, A Writer's Guide to Crafting Killer Sentences by June Casagrande. This book is a uniquely written piece of work that is meant to educate you on the appropriate ways of how to craft good sentences. This book gives many examples to help the reader on how to craft good sentences. It may not have any pictures at all, but it gives plenty of examples on how to write a good sentence. In the introduction, the author discusses how this book will assist in good sentence writing. She gives clues to what the book will be about, but is careful to not state it all in one section of the book. Let's just say June gives us the rundown in the introduction on what this book will be teaching us readers. In chapter 1, I found that it was very interesting that June pointed out that the reader is the boss when it comes to any kind of writing. Or shall I say, el jefe, which means boss in Spanish. The writer should be willing to accommodate its reader. The reader is always going to be the king. Chapter 2 was all about conjunctions. Conjunctions that kill. Just kidding. These chapter names are pretty funny though. This whole chapter was interesting because I don't even know what a conjunction is. Well, now I do, but I didn't before. So conjunctions are words that connect other words and phrases and clauses, and they have to have the equal grammatical status. The most common conjunctions that are used are and, if, but, so, and because. This chapter actually talks about Schoolhouse Rock, and I do remember that when I was a kid. And I remember the conjunction, junction, what's your function song. So I do remember that. And it was nice to see that someone else used that as an example. Chapter 9 is all about prepositional phrases. This chapter was probably by far my favorite chapter out of the entire book. One, because it shows these funny sentences of misplaced modifiers. And two, because I had no idea what prepositional phrases were to begin with. Prepositional phrases can illustrate or explain nouns similar to how adjectives do. However, you must be careful about where you place these phrases in the sentence, because obviously they can turn into something else. Not only did this chapter make me laugh a lot, but it also showed me how to fix the problem in the sentence. Down here, it's showing us how to fix the problem in the sentence. The first thing to do is to move the prepositional phrase closer to the verb it modifies. The example they give for modifying the sentence to be correct is, they said on the radio that it's going to rain. Now, if that doesn't work by moving the modifier closer to the verb or the noun, you just have to rewrite the entire sentence. See, better to rewrite it. Chapter 17 talks about semicolons and parentheses. And it's funny because she starts off this entire first page and a half up to here about how she hates and despises semicolons and parentheses. These are her biases. Semicolons often serve no purpose other than to show off the writer knows how to use semicolons. She obviously doesn't use them. And parentheses often let a writer cram in any information she was too lazy to explain in a more reader-friendly manner. Man, she's really hating on both of these, but she just doesn't hate on them. She also gives pretty good examples of what they are and how to use them. So with semicolons divide items that include commas within them. They also let us see grouped items within our list. So here she gives us an example of how Brad visited Pasadena, California, semicolon, Cheyenne, Wyoming, semicolon, Sarasota, Florida, semicolon, and Boulder, Colorado. So these semicolons are helping separate these items. And if they weren't separated, they'd look like this down here, Pasadena, California, Cheyenne, Wyoming. They'd be grouped up and we wouldn't know what would be the difference. So that's a good way to use semicolons. Parentheses, let's see. Here's a big giant... Nope, it's on the other page, sorry. Oh, right here. Here's a big, giant parentheses off to the side down here. And it says parentheses are a good way to supply the reader with information. They also may be used for bits of narration. Well, in this one, it's not showing narration. Overall, I enjoyed reading this book. I was able to obtain a lot of helpful tips on how to create good sentences. Hats off to June Casagrande for adding humor and a useful guide to writing better. Thanks, everyone.